There's so many kids right now that are in university or are planning to go to university in a year or so, and they're all studying tech or have the intentions of studying something with technology, whether it's computer science, management information systems, IT, you name it. We all enter university with the mindset of, oh, technology is a great degree. That's what we've been told by our parents, our peers. But why is it so difficult for us to get internships? Trying to get an internship in tech right now is one of the most cutthroat industries, and it's honestly very difficult. Number one, you are simply not applying enough. Just because you apply to an internship every once in a while, whenever you feel like it is not good enough. You have to apply as much as you can. A normal goal for you should just be at least 10 a day. Bang out 5 in the morning and bang out 5 at the evening time or whenever you can throughout the day. Because if you're not applying, you're just naturally limiting yourself to any possibility of a good outcome. On average, you get rejected by 100 companies before you get one offer or before you even get one interview. So if you apply to less than 100 interns, if you apply to less than 100 internships for the entire year, you're not even likely to get one interview. That's not the pool you should be swimming in. You should be applying to 10 every single day. That way, on average, after 10 days, you are gonna get roughly one opportunity to interview for at least one company. That's the mindset you should have. The more you put yourself out there, the more your resume gets seen by different recruiters, the better your chances are of even getting looked at, and then you're putting yourself in a better position to interview and move forward with the hiring process. Take advantage of the resources that your school offers, whether it's Handshake or Business Night, whatever platform that your school offers you to apply to internships and get in contact with companies for the hiring process. Use that to your advantage. Those companies are specifically looking for students from your university that can fulfill whatever skill sets they need done, whether it's like data managing, data cleaning, software engineering, whatever tech skills that you are capable of doing and that you're looking to get in the line of work. Apply to those positions through your school recruitment app or website. Best bet. It will definitely increase your odds of getting the internship because they personally want somebody from your university. With my experience, however, I know this is slightly different, kind of contradicting a little bit from what I'm saying, but in my personal experience, and I believe in my personal experience that this is definitely not the average experience for most people. I actually got a lot of offers, a lot of interviews through Indeed, which is kind of crazy. I would have thought that my school format, which is Business Night, would allow me to get more opportunities and get in contact with people that can either hire me or like recruit me for a different process, like whatever. I've gotten the best results with Indeed. Indeed makes it so easy to apply to many different places simply because of the one-click submit option. This makes life so much easier as a student. You don't have to worry about putting in any information, typing in your email, the school, your major, all that. You literally upload your resume to Indeed, and once you hit the apply button, it just sent automatically, and your resume gets sent to the HR or the recruiter, and it's all up to them at that point. And you'll either get an email whether they accept you or if they deny you, but it's whatever. Number two, you are not networking enough. I know a lot of people, they'll just go to the career fair that their school hosts and they'll talk to a few booths and they'll leave within like 30 or 45 minutes. And that's not good enough anymore. A few years ago, you could easily just, go to a career fair once in your entire college career and you'd probably get a decent shot of getting an offer from some company. But with the competitiveness of the market today, you have to not only attend those meetings, but you have to actually go in there. You actually have to go into those meetings with a strategy. You have to enter the career fair with an agenda, and you have to execute that plan to perfection. What I personally recommend doing is figure out all the companies that are there that are hiring for your major or the position that you're interested in, and talk to every single one of them. Don't leave until you talk to every single booth. Big company, small company, medium-sized company. You have to talk to them all. You have to hand all of them your resume. They need to know who you are, and you have to make a good impression while you're there. Don't be one of those people that you just go to the line, you wait, and then you shake the recruiter's hand and you give them some corny elevator pitch, and then you ask for their LinkedIn, and then you walk on to the next booth. Like, establish a personal relationship with them, establish some sort of common ground, and just kind of talk about it for a couple of minutes. And once the conversation just naturally dries up, that's when you ask for the LinkedIn or the email, and then you wish them a good day. And after that, within the next 48 hours, you send them out a thank you email and ask them for a follow-up meeting or coffee or some sort of like small talk that you guys can schedule for sometime next week. And this is where you become memorable, because a lot of the students that go to the career fairs, they're only there for that one moment. They shake their hands, and the recruiter just can't remember them. The recruiter probably meets on average at least a couple hundred kids that day, especially if you go to a huge state university. Chances of them remembering you is pretty slim to none. By you doing the follow-up, it makes you stand out from all the other applicants, and it makes the recruiter believe you're very interested in the company and you're willing to go that extra mile. And they're more likely to push your name up to the HR managers. So when it's time to get interviewed, don't be surprised if you get that email. So that's a step that a lot of people miss out on, but it's very crucial you do that, and that's how you separate yourself drastically from everybody else. In general, you are more likely to get hired from one of the smaller companies than like the big four, just because of the volume of applicants. It's so much easier for you to stand out with a smaller pool than a larger pool. You shouldn't be discouraged to work at a company just because it's smaller than the other employers, but the prestige might not be there, but beggars can't be choosers, and you got to start somewhere. Just because you're working at a small company now doesn't mean you're going to have to work there forever. Use it as a stepping stone and allow it to, enhance your skill sets and just allow you to, it's basically just helping you get closer to your end goal anyway. Just because you don't start off at that big company doesn't mean it's impossible for you to get there. It's just you're going to have to take a few more steps, and it doesn't hurt taking a stride forward instead of just staying in the same spot. By you going to the smaller company, you could easily learn a lot more because you probably have a bigger role. They're going to have less interns, and you're going to have a much easier time talking to people of authority. And honestly, it's just going to help you become better at your line of work. In my experience, some of these small companies get barely anybody to come up to their booth. I remember one time I came to a career fair super late. It ended at 3:30, and I got there at like 2:30, and I started talking to one of the smaller booths, and I honestly said, hey, I would give you an elevator pitch, but I'm sure you've heard enough of those today. Hi, my name is Brajesh. They laughed because they're like, we had 3 people come up today, and you're the 3rd person. And that blew my mind. The company has been there. The company had their booth set up since 8 a.m. and only 2 other people besides me went up to them and talked about internship opportunities. Yeah, like that just shows you, like, instead of having to compete with like 10,000 applicants, you're competing with 2 others now. Like, that significantly increases your odds of getting the job. Always look for the smaller companies and the medium-sized companies. Not saying not to try and aim big for the larger companies, but it's just naturally going to be harder, way, way harder than it would be to work for a smaller company and get an internship with a medium-sized company. To me, you kind of just have to figure out where you stand, and if you can't get that big offer or you can't get to that big company, there's nothing wrong with working the same line of work for a different one, especially if you're not going to stay there forever anyway. Lastly, you could just be bombing your interviews. There's a lot of people in tech are just super antisocial. They're shy, they're awkward, and they could have the perfect resume, But when it comes down to actually presenting themselves on camera, or even if it's an in-person interview, they fumble. They're unable to make eye contact, smile, and just have a normal conversation with the recruiter. And if you're incapable of doing this with the recruiter, you wouldn't be capable of having social skills within the workforce or on a team project or when you're meeting with a client. In all, the company just not going to believe you're a good look for them. You're not going to represent the company well, and they're definitely not going to hire you. Also, when it comes to storytelling, you have to use the STAR method. I've made so many, I've had multiple interviews that I didn't make the cut simply because I didn't use STAR. Doesn't mean I'm not a great storyteller. Doesn't mean that my words or my answers weren't compelling. It's just simply not the format they wanted to hear. And based off that, they couldn't push me forward to the full-time role. And it's something that if you're naturally a storyteller, it might, if it doesn't follow your personal way of telling stories, it's going to be a little difficult to adjust to. But once you have that kind of engraved in the back of your mind and you've done enough practice, star answers to like the commonly asked questions of like, why should we hire, actually that doesn't count. Tell me a time where you displayed courageousness, or tell me a time where you and a group member didn't get along. How did this continue throughout the duration of the project? Like questions like that, you have to follow the STAR method. If you don't, companies will not take you. Even if you tell them you found the cure to some ridiculously deadly disease and you saved humanity. If it's not with STAR, they're not taking you. But also, you also have to be okay with performing really well on an interview and the company simply just chooses someone else. I had an interview in person. It was about a 40-minute drive from where I live, and I killed the interview. I answered every question the way they wanted me to. I had great confidence, great poise, nice firm handshake, good eye contact. The whole time it was in person, and they literally told me I was basically overqualified for the role. And once I heard that, in my mind, I thought I had it in the bag. Like, I couldn't imagine why you would tell an applicant that and not proceed with them. But hey, every company's different, every person's different. Maybe someone even better than me interviewed after, and then that could have happened and they could have taken my spot. But it doesn't mean that I did a horrible job. It just meant that someone did better than me, and somebody just took the role for me, and somebody was more like fit for the job. And it happens. And even if I personally don't feel like that person could have done a better job than me, the company did, and there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to stay motivated and continue to apply and continue to network and continue to work on my interviewing skills. If you do those 3 things, you will definitely land yourself a nice tech internship.